All right. So, April 17th, you can see in order to conserve paper, Mr. Alt has put the instructions on the worksheet themselves. Okay? So, I'm going to go through this one as an example, and then these are going to be what you'll do. You're going to do the odds. Okay? You do the odds. Okay? If you want to do these evens that are left over as extra, great job. Okay? But all you need to do are these 5 questions here. Okay? All right. Now, what we're going to do, we've learned about what exponents are. We know that an exponent is a base and an exponent, right? That's an exponential expression. And the base is what we're going to be multiplying. The exponent is how many times. Okay? Now, we're going to work on how to multiply one exponent by another exponent. Crazy! It's actually pretty easy once we get the rules down. Okay? So, when you multiply two exponents that have the same base, this is key. They have to have the same base to use this rule. Okay? So the base is 3. You can see 3 to the first power times 3 to the 8th. They both have 3 as their base. That's key. All you have to do is you just add the exponents together. So you can see here 3 to the first, 3 to the 8th. The bases are the same, but the exponents are 1 and 8. Okay? All right, so they both have the same 3. So all we need to do is we need to add these exponents together. So 1 plus 8. That's going to give us 9. Okay, 1 plus 8 equals 9. And then all we do is rewrite this new number by our old base. Okay, so 9 becomes the new exponent for our base. So 3 to the 9th. So look, guys, you can multiply these without ever having to use a calculator or do all that multiplication in your heads. All you have to do is add these exponents together. This is such a nice, easy trick, guys. All right, but one thing you have to know is it has to be the same base. Okay? All right, so let's try over here. Okay, first off, do they have the same base? Yes, the base is 6. Okay, so 6 to the 7th times 6 to the 8th. All right? In order to do this, I need to take 7, which is this exponent, and I need to add it. Okay, remember, even though we're multiplying the whole things by themselves, all we have to do is add these little exponents up together. Okay, just like we did 1 plus 8, here we're going to do 7 plus 8. Okay, I know when I can do it in my calculator or I can add it in my head. 7 plus 8 equals 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So 15 is 7 plus 8. Okay, now I'm not done. 15 is not my answer. I have to have my base, which is 6. And now instead of 6 to the 7th or 6 to the 8th, when I multiply these together, they combine to form the omega 15th power. Okay? All right, so you'll see my answer here is 6 to the 15th. Okay? Where did I get the 6? That was the base. Okay? Always start with your base. Where did I get the 15? I added my exponents together. Okay? So my answer's here, and that's how I got both things. See how this is a little bit easy, guys. Okay? Once you get it. You can even start here. I know my base is 8, so that's going to be my base down here. It is the same base with both, and I need to add these two exponents together. So 9 plus 9. Okay? And look, these are it's a multiplication problem, but because we have the same base, we can add the exponents. Okay? So 9 plus 9, I know that is 18. Okay, so 8 to the 18th power is my answer. Where did I get 8? Base. Where did I get 18? Added the exponents. Okay? With a multiplication of exponents with the same base, you add the exponents. Okay? It can be confusing. Some of you might be thinking, but Mr. Alt, how am I going to remember when I see multiplication to add something? Well, you're not really adding all this together, okay? You're just taking a shortcut into multiplication by adding these. If I drew these out, 8 times 8 times 8 times 8 times 8 times 8 times 8, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times 8 times 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That is 1 8 to the 9th. 8 times 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 8. Okay? Now, I need another 8 to the 9th. 8 times 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 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Here's another 8 to the ninth. And you might be saying, Mr. Alt, your 8s kind of look like 3s. Okay, and that's because Mr. Alt is writing very fast right now. Okay, so you can see 8 to the ninth. This is another 8 to the ninth. So all I'm doing is adding these together, and it just creates one more x. Okay, one more times. Okay, so now I just count them all together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay, now that was a lot of writing, okay, and a lot of counting. Look how much space all that took up, when all I really needed to do was add these 9 plus these 9. Okay, and that's what we do here. Okay, so I wanted you guys to visually see what we're doing when we add these. So even though it looks like it's just addition, you're really multiplying all these. So you're adding up all the times you have to multiply. Okay? So hopefully that makes you understand why we're doing this. It is multiplication, but as an easy little shortcut, we just add. So 8 to the 18th. Okay? All right, down here we have 3 as our base. All right, and then we have 7 and 2. Okay? So 7 plus 2, I know that equals 9. So 3 to the 9th. That is my answer. Okay? All right, down here, what is my base? You're right, it is 3. Okay, exponents are 9 and 7. It's a multiplication, has the same base, which means I can add these exponents together. Okay, neat trick, anytime you plus something to 9, anytime you add something to 9, all you have to do is take that number, one less, okay, and 10 up. Okay, so if this was 17 plus 9, it would be 6, and then 1 and 10 up from 17 would be 26. Okay, all right, just an easy little trick for adding with 9. Okay, all right, last one. Oh, I almost forgot to put my exponent there. So you see that 16 becomes my exponent, 3 to the 16th. Okay, 3, and then I've got 5 plus 8. Okay, 5 plus 8 equals 13. So 3 to the 13th. Okay, and you can see right here, it looks really tough, right? When you got all these exponents. Oh, how do I multiply exponents? It's just adding them together, guys. Okay, and what is the key to all this? It has the same base. Now, all these problems here do have the same base. Spoiler alert, okay? Because I want you to get used to doing it with the same base. Eventually, Mr. Alt's going to trick you by giving you some questions without the same base, and we'll learn how to do those. Okay? All right. So this is what you were doing today. If you want to do some extra, right here. Have a great day. April 17th. Welcome to the wonderful world of geometry. Today's April 17th, and we are going to now find the area of triangles. Okay? So what we're going to be doing today is learning about what is the formula for a triangle, and then you guys are going to do the evens. If you want to do the odds, go ahead. It's extra. Okay? All right. So up here also, to save paper, I've started putting some of the directions on the sheets themselves. Okay? Just a little bit easier. Less things you guys have to print out and keep track of, and here we go. All right. So first, you're going to take the base times the height. Oh, that sounds familiar. It's the same as quadrilaterals, okay? Base times height, okay? Only a little bit different. Now the height, okay, is straight up and down. Just like with our parallelogram, we can't use the slanted side, all right? So you're going to do 10 is the base, 9 is the height. That's 90. Woo, we're done. No, we're not, okay? The biggest mistake made with triangles is we forget this next step, okay? If you look up here, the formula is 1/2 base times height. That means that you need to divide the base times height by 2 to get your answer. Okay? And the reason we do that is because, let me silence that phone, is because we're using the same base times height, okay, that we would with a parallelogram here, right? So it would be the same thing right here, right? 10's the base, 9's still the height, and it's a parallelogram. But you see, I just doubled it, okay? So most quadrilaterals, most 4-shaped sides are made, you can make 2 big triangles out of them. And that's why we use the same formula as a quadrilateral, but then we have to cut it in half because a triangle is half of a rectangle or a parallelogram, any quadrilateral, okay? So very important is that we divide by 2. So 10 times 9, right? Just by, anytime you multiply a number by 10, you can just put that in place of the 1. So that's 90, okay? It becomes 90 square inches, and then we divide it by 2. So 90 divided by 2, that equals 45, okay? So 45 square inches is our answer, all right? 45 square inches. Now, I couldn't figure out how to do an exponent, but if you just write inches squared, inches squared like that, that's also completely correct. If you want to write out the whole thing, it's also your prerogative. But IN squared or whatever unit it is with a squared, perfectly fine. Okay, so now these odds, the rest of the odds here are for you to do if you'd like. We're going to go over some of the evens, okay? All right, so right now, base times height, 72 would be times 100, okay? So 72 times 100. I put that in here, okay? One thing I know that anytime I multiply by 100, I just add zeros to the number I'm multiplying it to. So if I'm right, it'll be 72 with 2 zeros after it. Boom! Okay, 7,200. 72 with 2 zeros. So 7,200 is what I get. Okay, but remember, this triangle is half of the quadrilateral that we just used, base times height. So we need to divide it by 2. Okay, 7,200 divided by 2. All right, I still got my 7,200 divided by 2 equals 3,600. Okay, so my answer for number 2 is 3,600, and what's my unit? Inches squared. Okay, that's my answer for here. So you see how I did that? I did base times height, right? Which is 72 times 100. Okay, and I got 7,200. And then I have to take half of that. So I have to divide it by 2. All right? Now you might be saying, hey, Mr. Alt, but I think it looks like you multiply 1/2. Okay? Well, guess what? Anytime you multiply by 1/2, you're dividing by 2. Okay? Okay, 1/2 is 1 divided by 2. Okay? So divided by 2. That's what we have to do after we do base times height. All right, number 4. Remember, this is the answer. Don't write your answer here. That's 3. Okay? 4. 9 times 10. Okay? 9 times 10. And you can see this is kind of almost like a square. Okay? And you can see it's cut in half. All right? So 9 times 10. And you don't have to draw these lines. I just do to help you understand why we have to divide by 2. All right? So 9 times 10, I know that equals 90, right? So 9 times 10 is 90, and then I need to divide that by what? 2. Very good. Okay, so what is 90 divided by 2? 45. Okay, so 45, okay, kilometers, km squared, okay? Km squared. So 45 kilometers squared. All right. So what do we do? Base times height, and then we divide it by 2. Next one, 6. Okay. Base is 31. My height is 22. All right. So 31 times 22. Okay. All right. 31 times 22. That gives me 682. Important to have a calculator, right? Okay. That's a hard one to do in your head. If you do not have a calculator, you can use your phone. Okay, if you don't have your phone, you can use anything online. If you even type this in on Google, okay, Google has a calendar right on Google, okay? If not, then you can do it like we've showed you with the different methods for multiplication with 2-digit numbers, okay? So 682, okay, and the unit is feet squared. So this one is 98 times 74, okay? And 98 times 74, using my calculator, is 5,032, okay? So right here, 5,032. What do I need to do? I need to divide it by 2. Okay, so 5,032 divided by 2 equals 2516. Okay, and it's meters. Okay, meters squared. So you see, for each one, I found my unit, and then I added a squared on it because it is area. Okay, all right, so over here, if you want to try these by yourself, okay, remember, base times height. Okay, so it's base times height, and then divide by 2. All right, hope you guys have a good one. I will see you next week.